Hey y'all, it has been a really long time since I have recorded a video, but I'm gonna tell you why and everything that's happened. So I can't even remember, not even trying to be funny, I can't even remember the last video that I posted, so I'm just gonna go about what has happened within probably the last couple of years. So we were living in Houston, doing our thing, living our life. Our kids were in school, doing all that kind of stuff. Then in 3 years ago, so 22, December of 22, my dad passed very suddenly. He had some heart problems. Something happened. He went in for a surgery, which he was supposed to fully recover from, like 100%, but he didn't. And I was working a Christmas event. I was working for a church at the time, and my sister called me and she's like, you need to get here as soon as you can. And I stayed at work for a little bit, blah blah, and everyone's like, are you okay? What's going on? And then I needed to take a step back and just like, okay, once I finish this event, we can go ahead and go there. Mind you, Houston was a 6-hour drive from here. So yeah, it was a whole mess. But basically, my coworkers found out and they're like, what are you doing here? You need to go. Like, just leave. We've got this. Don't worry about it. And so we left the event. Basically, I took whatever honestly was in the dirty clothes, threw it in the trash bag, tied it up, fed my kids, and we were on the road. And on the way here to like New Orleans area, we did not make it in time. My sister called me and she's like, make sure I'm not on speaker. I'm like, you're not. I was sitting in the back seat with the kids. Giselle was still little, our youngest. So I was sitting back there with her, just making sure everybody was okay. And that's when she told me that dad passed and didn't make it out of the surgery. So yeah, that was devastating. My sister that lives in Tennessee also did not make it on time. They took a flight in. I had to calmly and quietly tell Vernon. And so yeah, we didn't tell the kids anything. We pulled up at my mom's house. My brother and sister-in-law met us there. We sent the kids inside. They went, did their thing. Like, they're at Oma's house. Yay, whatever. They were cool. They were fine. And I just held my brother and just cried. And we were both just like there. And that was that. Same thing with my sister-in-law. And yeah. So anyway, that whole thing happened. We stayed there for almost a month. And then, because we had to do all the things, we came back working, blah, 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 whatever. Fast forward about 6 months or so after that. So that would be 24. Yes. No. I don't know. Anyway, in 24, where I was still working at the church, there was a change in leadership. My boss found a new position and was actually leaving the state, all of that. Someone else came in and let's just say that things did not work out. Things did not work out and I ended up quitting. It was a job that I loved, but it just, yeah, I'm going to leave that there because I could go on and on about that whole situation itself in an entirety, and I just think that it's better not to. I want to leave that there. I don't want to relive any of that. But basically, it was bad enough to where I had to go to counseling for my mental health, and the church didn't really do anything about it. Yeah, all those things. Anyway, all that's in the past, and none of that matters. I moved on. I started working the second half of 2024 for a small pest control, a small local pest control company in Houston area. That was a great job. I was working with someone that attended the church. We became really good friends. It was a small, like, 5 of us. 2 of us working in the office, her and myself, and then like 3 technicians that were out in the field. Actually 2. So there you go. There were 4 of us total. But it was great. It was good for my family, all those kind of things. Vernon had just started a junk removal business, so that was actually starting to take off. It was doing well, all of that kind of thing. January 2025 rolls around. It is the day between Vernon's birthday and Giselle's birthday. Vernon's birthday is January 11th. Giselle's birthday is January 13th. On January 12th, our lives drastically changed. Our whole world was flipped upside down. We are living in the apartment where we had been for almost 5 years, and a pipe burst in the wall. I was at a friend's house with some of the kids. I think the girls were with me because we were going to go pick up something from their house. Vernon calls me and he's like, the house is flooding. I need you to get here. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So yeah, quickly left them. Thank goodness we were only like 10, maybe 15 minutes away. There's inches of water in our house, and I just see like this flow coming out of our front door, and I'm like, what the freak is going on? So we make all the kids hop up on the sofa, and it's just constant flow of water out of the wall. We're trying to get ahead of it was on a Sunday. It happened on a Sunday because Giselle's birthday was on a Monday. Vernon's was on a Saturday. Trying to get a hold of someone. So all 4 of the downstairs units ended up getting water, but ours was the worst because the pipe was basically in our wall and busted our way. So at one point we had 6 inches of water in our house, and we are using push brooms to literally push it from one side of the apartment all the way to the other side and out of our front door. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. And this went on for hours. And then eventually they were able to turn the water off, and they had to fix things, whatever. They basically left us high and dry. They're like, okay, well, the water's off, so we're getting out of your apartment, whatever. People coming to work on the unit didn't show up till like 8, 9, whatever at night. And they were trying to dry the carpets and stuff. I'm like, we cannot sleep here. Like, we just have crap piled everywhere. And I have pictures and videos on other forms of social media where I'm like walking in the water and we just have like stuff piled everywhere because our house was literally, well, I say house, it's an apartment. Our unit was literally flooding. 6 inches of water. Like, what do you mean you want us to sleep in here overnight? So we got a hotel. We came back the next day and they were just dilly-dallying, blah, 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 blah. Like, nothing really happened. They needed to have corporate come look at the unit, da-da-da-da. So a whole bunch of nonsense later, because we didn't have rental insurance, they weren't going to put us in another unit, and they weren't going to put us in a hotel. They were basically like, SOL. I'm like, well, legally in our lease, if something like this happens, you have to put us at least in another unit. So a whole bunch of drama, a whole bunch of nonsense. We left and came here to Louisiana where my mom and them still live. I'm like, look, this happened, we're coming. She's like, just come on, whatever. And we ended up staying for like a week trying to go back and forth with these people. And yeah, again, it was another whole mess. And Vernon and I come back and trying to work on stuff. They told us we had to get everything out the unit. That way they can replace the flooring and drywall and all of that kind of stuff. I'm like, we are literally in a different state right now. Like, we need time to get that done. So we get like a week or something. So we get like a storage unit and we're throwing crap in there and just doing everything that we can, like losing our mind. My mom is taking care of our kids 6 hours away. It was just a whole mess. And then you started to find mold starting to grow on things, of course, because that's what happens when an entire unit is wet and the power goes out. So the dryers that they had weren't even working because the power's out in our unit. They had to get power restored back in there. Like, I hate talking about this whole situation. Basically, we get everything out. We get everything in a unit. We start talking with lawyers, all of that kind of thing. They're threatening to, like, evict us, blah, 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 because we're like, oh, well, let me finish before I get to that point. The freeze happens when, like, all of the South got snow. Yeah, that happened during this whole thing. Thankfully, it was after we got all of our stuff in storage, but yeah, that happened, which halted things even further. And so we're living there, and now it's February. We had to go take our kids out of school before we were faced with truancy charges because our kids couldn't be in school. So we had to take them out to where they weren't registered anymore. We had to either homeschool them or register them in a school here. So Vernon and I are going back and forth from Houston to like New Orleans area, Houston back. It's so stressful and exhausting. This is going on for like 2-3 weeks. And then they're saying how they're going to like threaten to evict us. We're like, well, y'all under legal codes, blah, 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 blah. Because we do our research. Vernon is a very analytical person. I tell him all the time he should be a lawyer. But anyways, they're threatening to evict us, and we're like, well, y'all broke the lease, so you can't evict us, blah, 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 blah. We're still going back and forth with lawyers, all that kind of thing. Basically, it comes to April, and we're talking with our lawyer, all of that kind of thing, and they searched everything. So there was no eviction notice ever filed against us. So they're like, you can still technically pursue this, or you can leave it alone. If you go after it, they might do the legal eviction, blah, 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 blah. And push came to shove, going through months and months of dealing with all of this nonsense and stuff. We basically are leaving it be because nothing's in our name. Like, we're good as far as like rental history, all that kind of stuff. So they didn't do anything, so we didn't do anything. All of our stuff is basically in storage, and the VA and an organization called Tunnels to Towers for veterans and their families basically are the ones who helped us. Vernon is now working, and they helped us move into this rental. Excuse me. They provided us with like the little pieces of furniture that we have. But we are basically still living in like a bare bones empty house. My car is now no longer working, and we don't know what's wrong with it. Vernon, we still have his truck, but it needs a lot of work done on it, but we just simply don't make enough to deal with that right now. So it feels like one struggle after the other is just following in on it. We have been living at my mom's all this time until we just recently moved in here. And that alone was a high stress situation. I mean, it's one retired old lady taking in a family of 6 with 4 young kids that are loud and playful and rambunctious. And we couldn't parent our normal way. And it was just a lot. It was a lot. So much going on in that time. And we are still recovering every single day, but I am so thankful to God how he has been with us. He has been working everything out for us and just been so faithful through this whole situation. And it makes my faith so strong. And it's not easy. It is so hard. We are still facing challenges every single day. But the fact is that we're here. We are in our own space again. Our kids are in school. They're doing well. They're thriving. All four of our kids just played sports for the very first time, which was super exciting. Vernon is coaching a football team that Giselle cheers for at his job. And yeah, so it's not ideal. There are still so many problems, so many issues. I'm actually having to go back to work just to be able to help cover our bills because, yeah, life is hard. Life is expensive. And having to restart your entire life is difficult, but having to restart your entire life with a family is even harder. But yeah, so that is the super quick synopsis of what has been happening in our lives, especially this year, which has been, yeah. I have no words. I don't think I really have words for it at any point anymore. But we are still so blessed and so thankful. There have been so many people that have even done little things like sent us clothes or grocery orders or whatever through this time. And I will never forget that. And I pray to be able to do that for someone someday as well when they are in need. But yeah, so those are the big and major things that are happening. We are now forcefully moved to live back in Louisiana again, but we're living in a rental house, which we have never had before, which has enough space for our entire family. The kids, we live in a safe neighborhood. They have a whole yard that they can go play and be kids in. Like, through all the struggles and the trials, so many blessings have come out of that for things that people take for granted. And I'm just like praising Jesus every day. Like, look at what you've done for us. Like, we are the lowest of the low to everybody in the world, whatever. But we have so much at the same time. Is it hard? Yeah. Are we still struggling? Yeah, absolutely. But it will never take away. Somebody's car alarm keeps going off. It'll never take away from the miraculous work that Christ has done in our lives. And it will never take away from how much we are thankful and grateful. It has grown our faith and how much we love him. So yeah. Now I kind of feel like I'm rambling. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but it's been crazy. 2025 have been an absolutely insane year. It's been rough. It's been hard. It has definitely been a test, but so amazing at the same time. But yeah, so that has been the big things happening with our family. And now you see new places, new scenery, all the things. And we will just keep striving and taking steps forward, no matter how big or how small that is. So yeah, if y'all have questions or anything, you are welcome to leave them and I will answer them the best that I can. And I will be now, since we're back in our own space, filming more regularly. And if you want to see like all the other things that have happened, definitely my Instagram and TikTok are the best place to look for those, because those get updated a lot more often and a lot easier than YouTube. But I plan on coming back and doing things, and I'll just have to figure out what that's going to look like, because now we're living a different life. So yeah, ta-da, all those things. But I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.